Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday night. I'm Anjanette Levy, and thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the video in the algorithm. And also, I'd love it if you would subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't ever miss a live or a video or a short or whatever else I happen to be uploading. Thanks to the mods for coming out on short notice tonight. We have Mo Nana here, Mel. Thank you, Mo and Mel and Monty, for being here. I really appreciate it. I wanted to do this tonight, and I kept going back and forth. Do I do it? Do I do it? Do I not? So I'm glad everybody decided to join me on such short notice. So thank you so much. Also, I love it when I see where you're watching from. So please tell me where you're watching from in the comments, in the chat, the country, city, state, wherever you would like to share. And if you're watching on replay, thanks so much for watching on replay. So awesome when I come back and see all the comments from the replay viewers. Big stuff going on over this last week. The murder of Charlie Kirk. It was an assassination. Quite frankly, it was a political assassination. I think we all know that. And I just want to start out by saying, there's been a lot of people talking about why this is getting attention. This is shocking. And I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on politically. That's not what this is about. This is about somebody speaking their mind, somebody going to college campuses, and whether you like what he had to say or not, this is what he did. And it actually drew a crowd. The kids enjoyed it. The students where Charlie Kirk would travel to these different universities. You would see these, videos online from time to time. I saw them, especially during the election last year, but I'm not going to lie to you and act like I sat around watching all of these videos, because I didn't, but I would see snippets here and there. The students liked it. They were engaged in it. And college campuses are supposed to be places where you can freely exchange ideas. And that is what Charlie Kirk was doing. He was doing what he does. He was sitting under a tent at a university, whether you liked what he had to say or not, and he had drawn a crowd. There were thousands and thousands of students on that lawn listening to him, wanted to hear him debate with the other students. And he always invited the students who did not agree with him up to the mic. And you have to kind of respect that. I mean, he was not being mean to these students. He was engaging with them, talking with them, debating with them. And that's what we're supposed to do in this country. That's why we have a First Amendment. That's why it's the first one. The government is not supposed to establish a religion, restrict your speech. You're supposed to be able to peaceably assemble, right? That's what was going on here at this event. And somebody decided he didn't like what Charlie Kirk stood for, what he had to say. And he climbed up on a roof and he murdered him. And we're not supposed to live in a country where that happens. That's not supposed to happen in this country. And no matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or whatever, people who are on both sides of the aisle have said this is an attack on our democracy. And it is. Because people are supposed to be able to speak their minds, whether you like it or not, whether you like what they have to say or not. And this is like a perfect example of that. Like, go and listen. You might not like it, but at least engage and listen and be a part of the process. And then you don't like it, then go vote. It's as simple as that. You don't like it, go support the candidate you want. Go work for the candidate you want. Instead, somebody who didn't like what Charlie Kirk said or stood for said, I'm going to silence him. I'm going to go to where he is speaking. and I'm going to murder him. That is about as anti-American as you can get. I can think of nothing more un-American than murdering somebody because of what they're saying while they're saying it, because you don't like it. And it's just wrong. And there's something wrong. There's a sickness in this country. There's something going on. I don't know if it's just young people. You know, something is not right. So we're going to talk a little bit tonight about what happened and what we know so far about this guy, this Tyler Robinson, who's been arrested and charged. One thing that's getting lost in all of this is that before Charlie Kirk was out there talking, engaging in free speech, exercising his First Amendment right. Before he's that guy, right? When he gets up in the morning, he was a husband and a father to 2 children. And those 2 children in that photo and Erica Kirk, his wife, their lives have now been shattered. Those children, especially the little boy, I don't know how old he is. I think he's a little over a year old. I think he was born in spring of 2024 is what I read. He will not remember his father. He will only know his father through videos, photos, and through what people tell him. The little girl, I think she's 3. She'll remember her dad a little bit, but you know how kids are. They won't, sometimes they don't remember everything. You only have a memory going back so far. She might have flashes of memories of her father, but these kids are only going to really know their father through videos that they see of him, and there are a lot, and through what people tell them about him. And that's a tragedy. No matter what political persuasion you are or anything like that. Just awful. So, I look at this and I'm just like, good God, like, how does this picture get taken? And then within an hour, he's dead. It's just heartbreaking. And I said this the other night. I was explaining to everybody, like, I met him once back in 2016 when I was covering the Republican National Convention in Cleveland when I worked in local news. The bosses said, hey, I'm going to send you a phone number. I want you to go interview this guy. His name's Charlie. He's like an up and comer. They thought he was going to be like, a big deal someday. And I went and interviewed him. He was with 2 friends and they were just there trying to get out the message or whatever to the young people in the crowds. And so I guess that's when he was just starting out this Turning Point USA. And he was nice. I mean, he seemed like a nice guy. He was cordial, nice. I interviewed him. You know how these things go. It's like 5-10 minutes out on the street. And then they were on their way. So I just, it's just kind of sickening to me. So let's talk about where we are with this right now. This is the video that the feds released on Thursday night. And it shows, let's zoom in on this a little bit. Well, I can't zoom, sorry, but you see it. I'm going to back it up. This is after the shooting, and they released this in the hopes of helping to identify the shooter. They had released some clearer images of him, and they were really hoping that this would help identify him. So let's take a look at this. And one thing I'm curious about, I'm like, where did he store the gun? Because this was like a Mauser 30-06 rifle. And I'm thinking to myself, where did he store this? Like, I'm not sure that that's the type of gun that can be broken down or dismantled. I could be very wrong about that, but this is an older type of rifle. It's a hunting rifle. People use these to hunt. So let's watch this. There he comes from back around there. Everybody see that? And he's got a bag there, and it looks like a bag to me is what it looks like he has. And he's climbing down with the bag, and it does look kind of like long. So I don't know if that's a gun case or what. But it could be like, I guess that could be, if we zoomed in on it and I was some kind of video forensic person, maybe, you without the pixels getting all messed up and stuff. Is that possibly some type of gun case of sorts? You put it in like a case, like some type of carrying case, so you're not seen just running through the streets with a rifle. See, so it is kind of long, but it looks floppy to me. I'm wondering what you guys think about that. Oh, it's a towel. Gail Street says it's a towel because he did say, from everything that the governor said, that he then hid it and wrapped it. He told his roommate, we're going to get to the roommate here very soon, that he wrapped it in a towel and ditched it. So was he running with this thing in a towel? So let's back it up. Good eye, Eric. I think Erica Streeter said that. I'm sorry if I am messing up names here. I'm looking through the comments. But let's watch that again. Right there, he kind of sits it down. I wish we could slow-mo it. There. See that thing he kind of lays down? I mean, I guess that could be a towel, but is that the gun wrapped in the towel? Because it looks floppy. Right there. So I'm kind of wondering to myself, is that the gun wrapped in the towel? And then he climbs down there like, I guess like he thinks he's Spider-Man or something. And then he runs off. So where did he get the gun? Is this his gun? Is it his dad's gun? Is it another family member's gun? I don't know, but it's an older type gun from what I understand. Tina says, I think I heard it was wrapped in a towel, a black towel. Correct. It was wrapped in a towel. He had told his roommate that it was wrapped in a towel, or that it was hidden and wrapped in a towel, and he needed to go retrieve it. Harlot Oscara says, I think it's the gun in the towel. When he hits the ground and gets to his feet, you can see the towel and him getting a better grip on it. You very well could be right about that. So let's talk about this guy and what I've been able to learn so far. It seems like on Friday when the name came out and we were able to go on social media and see just a little bit about him. I haven't found any profiles that actually belong to him. But obviously he was the oldest of three children, pardon me. His mother is a social worker. His father owns some type of construction business. It was widely reported at first that his father was a sheriff's deputy in Washington County, and they lived 3 hours south of Orem, where this happened. His father is not a sheriff's deputy. There's somebody with the same name as his father who's a sheriff's deputy, but he is not a sheriff's deputy. So that was some misreporting there in the very beginning. That never made any sense to me because I kind of told myself or thought to myself when that was coming out, I'm like, why would a sheriff's deputy have to call a minister who's also a U.S. Marshal, for help about this. If he's your kid and you think he did this, then you just like confront him and you slap the cuffs on him yourself. You don't, or you call the office and you call your bosses and you say, "Oh my God," or you call the tip line, the 1-800 call FBI, and you take him in. You don't need to call a minister who's also a US works as a US Marshal or whatever. So that never made any sense whatsoever to me when I was like, that makes zero sense. Why would a sheriff's deputy call like a minister who's a marshal? That's so that it just didn't compute. I'm like, that sometimes you hear, it's like you got to kind of like think through things a little bit before just throwing it out there. But I think people are in such a race to be right and get things out there, or to be first, pardon me, and get things out there rather than getting it right. And getting it right to me is more important. We all make mistakes, especially in a breaking news situation. Things are evolving quickly and you're trying to get all the information you can and get it out there fast, but you got to kind of do some due diligence at the same time. So his dad calls the friend who's a minister. They are LDS, Church of Latter-day Saints. These are Mormons. And, you know, I'm sure the dad, when he saw the photos, the clearer photos, and realized, oh my God, that's my son, probably was just, I can't even believe, I can't even imagine being a parent. I'm trying to put myself in that position where you see the most wanted man in America at that point in time, and you look at that picture and you realize that's your son. That had to be absolutely just awful for this parent, for this father. So apparently, dad confronts the son, and Tyler says he'd rather take his own life than surrender. So whatever happens, and they end up taking the kid to the sheriff's office, I guess, and he's taken into custody. We've come to learn now. We've come to find out, and I've got some TikToks downloaded. There's nothing earth-shattering on these TikToks, but we've come to find out that Tyler Robinson was living with a man, and that the man, the roommate, everybody's calling him the roommate. Yeah, he's the roommate, but it sounds more like it's his boyfriend, his partner, his significant other. Is a man who's transitioning, is a transgender person who's transitioning to female. How long they've been dating, obviously, I don't know. But I find this to be not ironic at all that Charlie Kirk was shot when he was asked a question about the number of transgender people who've committed mass shootings, and that was what the question pertained to. He shot then. Obviously, the shooter would have to, if that is part of the motive here, would have to know what Charlie Kirk was talking about. Did he have a live stream going? Could he actually just hear with the speakers going what they were talking about? Because this happened at 12:23, the shooting. The event started at noon. So he's got to be up on that roof, getting into position. There's a scope on the gun, a sight. And he takes this shot. I don't know. It just doesn't seem coincidental to me. I'm sure there are people who have other ideas about this, but we're still very early on in this, and we need to get more information. So I think we can safely say that Tyler Robinson was gay and dating somebody, a man who was transitioning, was transgender and was going to be a transgender woman. So we don't know where that person, the roommate who the governor of Utah says is cooperating with this investigation. We don't know how far along this person is in that transition, but the TikToks I've found of this person don't indicate that to me at all. I'm not seeing anything or hearing anything that indicates to me, but they're older. These are a couple years old, these videos. We don't know how long they've been together. What I do find interesting, from what I've found out, basically in my research or whatever, in covering this case, is that Tyler Robinson sounds like he was very smart, at least book smart. We should say that. His mother had posted a video on her Facebook page a long time ago, back in 2021 when he was graduating high school. It was some type of scholarship letter. He got a scholarship to Utah State University, different school from Utah Valley University. And it was like for $32,000. And that's a lot of money, right? So in the fall of 2021, Tyler Robinson, he had a 4.0 GPA in high school. His mom called him a genius on Facebook. He also, on his ACTs, got like a 34 out of 36. So he's able to do well in school. So he has a scholarship, and he was in pre-engineering in the fall of 2021 at Utah State University. I talked with the school on Friday, and they confirmed all of this, that he was a pre-engineering student, fall of 2021, he attends, and then he takes a leave of absence, and he never comes back. But they can't tell me why, because of FERPA, the federal privacy law that prohibits universities, educational institutions from sharing, some information about students beyond their enrollment. So he took a leave of absence and never comes back after he has a scholarship. A scholarship. Then he goes to technical college instead, down, 3 hours south, about 3.5 hours south, down in Washington County, where he's living with his parents, in the same area. When he moves out of mom and dad's home, I don't know. But he, instead of going back and taking advantage of this full ride scholarship he has, he enrolls in technical college as part of some type of like electrician program. Perfectly fine. That's not what I'm saying at all. I mean, the world needs electricians, but he goes from full ride scholarship, or what seems to be a full ride scholarship, at Utah State University in pre-engineering, takes a leave of absence, never returns. And then he goes down, then he's like in technical college, enrolling in, the electrician program. Was it that he was just, a really good student in high school and trying to please his family and, didn't really want to go to college? Maybe he wanted to be an electrician instead. Is it that simple? Or did something happen? Was something going on with him where maybe he just couldn't handle being away from home? Maybe there's something else going on psychologically. We don't know. So his partner, I guess people are not saying boyfriend because he's transitioning. So you got to be careful with the gender stuff and pronouns. People get very upset and offended. When I worked in local news, I learned all about this because I covered some cases involving people who are transgender. So you have to be really careful. Like, it all depends on what verbiage and gender you use, depending on where the person is in the whole transition. If the person is still using the he pronoun, there, this person may switch at some point to the she pronoun, and maybe they aren't ready to come out and share this publicly yet, or haven't shared it with family. So there are all these things that they go through. Kay has Shelties. I think that's a good point. Kay has Shelties says, if he's gay, I would imagine it would be hard to be gay at Utah State, perhaps. And I think that's a point. I think that's a good point. Is it that, was Tyler having a hard time? Maybe he's coming to realize when he's at Utah State, we don't know this. This is all speculation, that he's gay. Is it that simple? And he leaves. Did his family know he was gay? Did his family know this, that his partner, his roommate, was his partner, his romantic partner? We don't know if they knew that. The partner's grandfather has been quoted in the media as saying he didn't know that he was transitioning, but it wouldn't surprise him. So is it that Tyler could not live the way he wanted to live? Maybe he wasn't. This is all speculation, of course. I'm just talking out loud here. Beautiful Messy Ball says, many brilliantly successful people drop out of college, including Charlie Kirk. Correct. And I would agree with you 100%. And that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying he didn't go back. He could have finished it. He could have finished the program. He had the $32,000 in scholarship money. That's a good amount of money. And he didn't go back. He decided to go to technical college and enroll in the electrician program instead. So we don't know how far along or where in the transition the roommate is, the partner, I should say. But the partner was transitioning, according to the governor. And so is this part of the motive? We don't know. They're not saying yet. But we know that this is part of kind of a piece of the puzzle. And there were some things written on the bullets that allude to, one of them says, if you can read this, you are gay, LMAO, like laughing my ASS off. It says so the bullets, according to law enforcement, had things carved into them. And one of them said, if you are gay, if you can read this, you are gay, LMAO. Another said, hey, fascist, catch. Now, some people have said that some of these things that were written on there are part of video games. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. Some of the other stuff on the bullets said Bella Ciao, like it was references to an anti-fascist song. So was Tyler Robinson, we know that he was into video games. Apparently he was a gamer. It sounds like the partner was a gamer too. Is some of this stuff from the gaming world, or is some of this stuff like anti-fascist stuff? I think we need to learn more, because it seems like people are looking to jump on one side or the other. And I think we just need to wait and see, because his electronics are going to tell the story. There have been some people saying, well, he's a groiper, which I'm learning about. A groiper is apparently people who follow this far right guy, Nick Fuentes, and they don't like the way that Charlie Kirk felt about people who are transgender and things like that. And so people are saying, well, he was a groiper. Other people are saying, well, no, he was, including the governor, he was kind of steeped in and really into kind of far left ideologies type stuff. So that to me jibes more with what's written on the shell casings with the Bella Ciao, hey fascist catch. Even if that hey fascist catch thing is in this Helldiver video game that people are talking about, it still is more in line with kind of the left wing stuff, the far left, I should say, far left wing ideology, than the far right with these Groyper people. So I think we just have to wait and see. But this is, I think we're going to find out. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, there's also the furry subculture thing going on here too. Apparently there's some stuff on the rounds that alludes to furry subculture. C says he was playing Furry Shades of Gay, the game, on his Steam profile. Okay, cool. If you have that information, I would like to see it. I guess I've got to jump on Steam and see what's going on. Bella Ciao is an Antifa anthem, Lee T says. Right. And that's what they were saying. They were talking about he had all this kind of far left stuff that he was interested in. His family and the partner apparently are his family and the partner are cooperating with the FBI, according to the governor of Utah. And at least at this point in time, you know, it sounds like the far left stuff is probably what he was interested in. And that jibes with what was in they haven't come out and said it in the probable cause affidavit, but in the probable cause affidavit, it states that he recently at a dinner with family talked about how he didn't like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was coming to the area. He was aware of that. He talked about why he didn't like Charlie Kirk, or at least the people at the dinner talked about why they didn't like Charlie Kirk. And Tyler said that Charlie Kirk spread hate. So that to me is kind of like, well, it seems like this whole issue about transgender, whatever Tyler Robinson believed Charlie Kirk felt or how he felt about gays may be part of this. Harlot Esquera says, these messages make me think it's not nearly as cut and dry as him being indoctrinated by either the left or the right. If he was hardcore left, I don't know if he'd be making gay jokes, but I don't know. I don't know either. But is it something like sarcastic? Like that's why he put LMAO. I don't know. Like maybe it means if you can read this, you're still alive. So I didn't shoot you. I don't know. I've tried to think about this from a number of perspectives. I think we still don't have enough information to say one way or the other. But I think what we can say is the person who committed this crime is disturbed, did not think about the consequences of his actions. I think to me, this has shades of Luigi Mangione. This is, to me, kind of like a Luigi Mangione wannabe. That's what he, this is a good one too. My enemy says he was being sarcastic. It was meant to antagonize what he saw as straight, conservative, homophobic male. Yeah, I mean, that to me seems like it could be very well be that it was a sarcastic thing. Yeah, Wanting Changes says allegedly he was very active online on Discord, and I'm assuming Reddit. I think he was referencing online phrases. Very well could have been. He was active apparently on Reddit, on Discord. He apparently was on Discord, according to the New York Times. When people were saying he looked like the shooter, he said it was his doppelganger and joking about it. So he did not think about the consequences of his actions. DE says he's actually nonpartisan and didn't vote for Kamala. Correct. His voter profile was inactive. So he didn't vote for anybody. But his family did tell, his family told, this isn't about voting for Kamala or Trump. That's not what this is about. This is like fringe stuff. That's what this is about. We're not talking about, I don't think we're talking Republican and Democrat. We're talking right and left of that, is what we're discussing here. I think is where we're potentially where we're going to find out. We're potentially going to find out about this. So yes, his voter profile, he was inactive. Beautiful messy ball. Just because he's registered nonpartisan doesn't mean he himself doesn't have a political view, and that's very true. His family said that he had become political in recent years. So we may learn more this week about where he was coming from. Kathy says this is about one person taking another person's life, and no matter what you are, that's not cool. I would agree with you 100%. It's not cool at all. We should not be living in a country where this happens, or this shouldn't be happening in our country. We should all be living here. But for people to think this is acceptable, this to me, I look at this and I feel like this is just a Luigi Mangione copycat. The writing on the bullets, obviously this was not somebody who walked up close and did this. He wouldn't have been able to get that close to him. But the writing on the bullets, apparently, according to the New York Times, they're investigating a note that he may have left. So if there is a note, that to me checks another box in the Luigi Mangione copycat kind of part of this. So it's very very, very concerning. Really, really concerning. His Charlie Kirk's wife, which I was surprised to see this. Obviously, I've never heard her speak or anything, but on Friday night, they said she was coming out to address the nation. She spoke it was broadcast on YouTube. It's got almost 4 million views, and I thought I would show some of this if you guys were interested in seeing it. How is he a copycat? That doesn't make sense. Well, he wrote on bullets. That's the aspect I see. And he took out somebody in a position of great power. So that's where I see the copycat aspect. In his world, Charlie Kirk is somebody who's very powerful. Not as powerful as a Brian Thompson running a multi-million-dollar, industry, big healthcare corporation. That's not what I mean. But in his world, he's a 22-year-old technical college student. He's somebody who can speak to the masses and wields a lot of power. So that's where I see the copycat aspect of it. So I'm going to play a little bit. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Charlie Kirk's wife, I couldn't believe it. She came out and addressed, well, if you can think that doesn't make a copycat, to me, it's a little bit copycatish. So Tara, we can agree to disagree on that. So here's a little bit of Charlie Kirk's wife speaking I'll just play a little bit of this.
Jesus. Good evening. My name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically to save Charles's life, and the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family these past 2 days. And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board, the COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy, for all their work in these terrible days to be the stability for our family and for the wider Turning Point USA family as well. My heart is with every one of my husband's employees who lost a friend and a mentor. I want to thank the staffers of his amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from the studio, this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did. I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie here in Phoenix, across America, and worldwide. I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well, bringing him home. You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing. You supported him so well, as did he for you. 2 days ago, my husband, Charlie, went to see the face of his Savior and his God. Charlie always said that when he was gone, he wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. And one of the final conversations that he had on this earth, my husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr. Charlie loved life. He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. Want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks. But most of all, Charlie loved his children. And he loved me with all of his heart. And I knew that. Every day I knew that. He made sure I knew that every day. Every day he would ask me, how can I serve you better? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? Every day. Every day. He was such a good man. He still is a good man. He was the perfect father. He was the perfect husband. Charlie always believed that God's design for marriage and the family was absolutely amazing, and it is. It is, and it was the greatest joy of his life. And over, he would tell all these young people to come and find their future spouse, become wives and husbands and parents. And the reason why is because he wanted you all to experience what he had and still has. He wanted everyone to bring heaven into this earth through love and joy that comes from raising a family. It's beautiful. Charlie always said that if he ever ran for office, I know a lot of you asked if he ever was going to, but privately he told me if he ever did run for office that his top priority would be to revive the American family. That was his priority. One of Charlie's favorite Bible verses was Ephesians 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children. He showed the ultimate and true covenantal love. I will never, ever have the words to describe the loss that I feel in my heart. I honestly have no idea what any of this means. I know that God does, but I don't. But Charlie, baby, I know you do too. I know you do. So does our Lord. And our world is filled with evil. But our God, you guys, our God is so good. He's so incredibly good. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Already I have seen the worldwide outpouring of love for my husband. I've heard the testimonies from people my husband inspired to get married, to start families, to seek out a relationship with God. It's the most important one of all. The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I muted myself so I wouldn't be talking. You wouldn't hear me. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys caught that, but she said evil doers, or she said plural. She didn't say evil doer, and it could just be the grief speaking. But she said the evil doers. So I'm kind of wondering if they believe there's a little more to this. People who commit crimes like this, often they are radicalized on the internet. Sometimes they're just radicalized by themselves. They have mental illness. They are people who are mentally fragile. They start reading things, but maybe there's more to this. Maybe this is somebody who is radicalized on the internet, maybe somebody who was targeted for radicalizations, but she's saying evildoers. So does she know something more? Does she know that the FBI suspects something more was going on here? We know they're investigating everything. They will go through his digital footprint and look at everything. But does she believe there's more going on here? Can you guys still not hear me? Can you hear me now? Because people are saying I'm muted still. I unmuted myself. Okay, I'm good now. Great. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm just kind of wondering, maybe there's more to this. But I think that this is definitely somebody who was radicalized somehow. So Vanessa is saying this is just evildoers is a biblical term. And maybe that's what she's saying. but I'm just wondering if they think there's more to this. Hi, Hella. Hello, Hella. Welcome to the chat. So this is what we know. Yeah, Kay has Shelties. Didn't they say he had sent Discord messages to friends to get his gun from the woods? No, I think it was just to the partner, to the roommate, partner, boyfriend, partner, whatever we're calling him, the one who's transitioning. So there's been an outpouring of donations and things like that for Erica Kirk and her 2 children who do not have a father. And she is without her husband. He went to do what he does that morning, and within a minute less, he was dead. I saw the video of him being shot. When I saw it, I just thought to myself, there's just no way it'll be a miracle if he survives this. He was bleeding out immediately. It was horrific. It was absolutely horrific. So I think that we just have to wait and see how this plays out. They say the partner's cooperating. They said his family is cooperating. His father obviously turned him into police, took him to the police station. However that transpired, dad turned him in, did the right thing. But we've got the piece of the puzzle here with the partner who is apparently cooperating with law enforcement. This guy's chatting on Discord with people. The Discord friends apparently joking that it looked like him. Didn't realize it was really him. But I think maybe we'll find out when they go through his computer what he was looking at online, who he was talking to, all of those kinds of things. But, right now it looks like a lone wolf type thing, but was he involved in some stuff online? I think that some people who are kind of mentally unstable, we do not have the Discord messages. Hella, the New York Times, I think, has received some of them from some of the people on Discord that he was friends with. So what I think is we have people who are mentally unstable, who have some mental health issues, who are into gaming. They read stuff online, they get radicalized, and add some social media into the mix. Social media is not for everybody. Not everybody can handle it. And everybody needs to do social media in small doses, in my opinion, because it stirs people up, stirs them up. If you've been watching tonight, I really appreciate it. Remember to hit that button. Hit that like button, the thumbs up, please. I would love it if you would subscribe. And if you're watching on replay, thank you so much. I think that's going to do it for tonight. Dolly Talk, thank you so much for the super chat. Dolly Talk says, can you break down this furry thing? I didn't really even get into the furry thing. I feel like that's a small piece of this, but there's this whole furry thing. I don't know a ton about it. I just remember a couple years back, my husband's niece, she was in junior high, and she started telling me about furries because kids at school were wearing like dog collars and like collars to school, and they were calling them. Apparently, there were some kids calling themselves furries and hissing at her and stuff like that. So this furry thing, it's like a subculture. And these people, they like to dress up like cats. So they're people who identify with animals, apparently. This is what I'm getting. But they dress up like cats and stuff like that. I covered a homicide case where the people were dressing up like furries. Like, it's like what they like to do. They were furries. So they would dress up like cats and stuff on the weekend. So it's different. So why don't I do a little bit more research on that? Oh, apparently it involves cats, wolves, and horses too. Why don't I do a little bit more research on that before I dive deep into that? I just remember that was the first time I ever heard of furries. Was having an 8th grade girl tell me that people at school were hissing at her and they wore collars. Whatever. I was just like, that's bizarre. Tina says, I think it's identifying as, yeah, apparently they do identify with animals and stuff like that. That's part of it. But they feel they have human characteristics. So I don't know if they think their like inner selves are really cats. But why don't I look into this before I Yes, Taya Toys. Phil, please help me research this. I don't want to give out wrong information. You guys know how much I like to get my facts right. So I seriously would not want to give you incorrect information about furries. We're going to get it all right here. We're going to get it right about this whole case. So we'll continue covering this. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat, and please let me know what you think of this video. And we'll talk more about this coming up another time. But I am going to shut this down for tonight. Again, I really appreciate you guys coming on and joining me late notice on a Sunday night. I really hope that you're having a good Sunday wherever you are, and Monday if you're in Australia. And I've really loved that you guys all have been watching. Again, would love to have you as a subscriber. And please, as I end this for tonight, remember to treat each other well. I always want everybody to treat everybody with respect. Please treat everybody well. I felt like I went out yesterday. I went to the store to return some stuff and do some other errands. People seemed a little nicer than usual. I don't know if it was because of this or not, but I don't know. I felt like some people were really nice and nicer than usual. So maybe it was because of this, or maybe just it was a beautiful day outside and people were enjoying the weather. I don't know. But yes, hug your loved ones. Tell your family you love them. Be kind to one another. And I will see you back here again soon. Thanks again, guys. And thanks to the mods. Melmac, Monana, and Monty for being here. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye.